We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture.
You call me what? Sir, what are you? Where's the cowboy?
To buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture.
He's tough up on the mic, but softer around the eyes. Tariff talk and smoky looks whereas he straight but grows those eyes. Ay!
Chinese peasants.
Tariff bows, JD yells, peasants pay your fine. Yes sir, Musk and liner shy or shipped from China mine. Jesus! Tariff bows, oligarchs hooray. The rich get richer off your fears and you just fade away. We love America and Americans, but we do have one question for Mr. Vice President. Mr. Vance, where did you get your eyeliners from?
J.D. Vance's eyeliner has become a national security threat. The Chinese government is now trolling the shit out of him. Please play this meme.
Borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture.
Vice President Vance, I am a Chinese peasant. Do you realize that your tariff policy will lead to the soaring price of your eyeliner?
I mean, you know, here's the deal. For all the MAGA guys that think Trump is such a tough guy and such a strong guy, you've got a vice president that is a news cycle or two away from popping a smoky eye.
Absolutely.
I mean, he can't stop wearing this eyeliner in public. And I want to be very crystal clear. I don't have a problem with men wearing makeup.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't.
That "we do not care" came from the fucking pits of his very soul. They've been waiting to say that. And honestly, they're real as fuck.
Without United States, you have nothing, China. Yes, MAGA, we don't have child labor, school shooting, homeless problem, genocide, oligarchy, monopoly, crazy expensive yet inefficient healthcare system, heavy tax on working class, property tax every year, anti-Semitism awareness law, supremacy bubble you live in, built by multi-billion-dollar worth propaganda, a fake free speech, fake democracy. Yeah, you guys got it all.
Do you know how much a Chinese factory make for a pair of Nike shoes? $10, which sells $150 on the shelf. A Stanley Cup, $50. The factory gets $1. $1. But when they sell millions of them, that's millions of dollars. And all surplus. That's where the surplus comes from. But for every $1 the factory made, somebody in America is making $49. Who is benefit from the globalization? And think about the pollution the factory has to cause in the local area. Who is benefit from the globalization? I don't know.
We are witnessing the beginning of the revolution. The way these tariffs are backfiring, all my FYP are Chinese companies trying to go direct to motherfucking consumer. They said, oh, America, you trying to knock? Well, then allow us to buck. They said, American government, you want to put tariffs? Okay. American people, how would you like to get the prices that we pay, which is even less than you pay without the tariffs? And it's not just Chinese companies, African companies have entered the chat as well. I just saw a TikTok that said, the bag is made in China, but the leather comes from Africa. And then somebody stitched that and was like, yeah, y'all, we need to start having a conversation about the artisanship in Africa. These tariffs were supposed to bring jobs back to America, but they might end up creating a whole new economic ecosystem, a artisan direct to customer ecosystem. I mean, with the internet, anything is possible. Could this be the beginning of cutting out the middleman?
China is now banning U.S. companies left and right. It's not just tech companies. It's defense companies and even clothing companies, including, by the way, the clothing company parent of Tommy Hilfiger. Now, China doesn't call its list a ban list. The term that they use is an unreliable entity list. And a few of Boeing's subsidiaries have been added to the list. Though let's be honest, Boeing ought to be banned in the US too for being unreliable. I'm surprised that Tesla's not there yet for that extremely high defect rate on their cars. When China saw the US banning all of their companies, they said two can play that game. And in perhaps what is a jab at the US, China is saying that they're banning the US companies to safeguard their national security and interests. Oh, we've definitely heard that line before. Remember, TikTok big export controls have been slapped on 12 companies in the past 24 hours, and 6 more companies have been added to the unreliable entities list. 11 drone companies are on the list and can no longer directly secure Chinese parts. You can't blame China for responding to US bans with bans of its own. And for all those corporate entities thinking that this wouldn't happen, you just made the D3 List, a podcast about dumb, desperate, and diabolical business decisions.
This just in, China says that in return of the tariffs, they're going to ban Hollywood movies. Basically like American movies being shown there. And what's funny about this is Hollywood is the biggest marketing machine, right? I'm in China right now, and in my experience, this is my second time here, a lot of people's impression of America is that everyone lives in a beautiful house. They actually call America the beautiful country, and this is like a direct translation. They really have like a really positive view on America. They think everyone has like these high salaries that give them these 2-car garages, and you know, they have 4 kids and 2 dogs, whatever else you kind of see in Hollywood. So for them to be like, you know what, we're not gonna let your positive marketing influence be here anymore. That's a huge deal. But also Hollywood has not made a single good movie in years. Like they're not gonna see the Minecraft movie. The whole reason guys liked Adolescence is because it was a UK show, and UK shows are still hitting because they use thought and not like an AI script generated off of the last 3 Netflix movies that flopped. Keep in mind, this is like after Trump said he's going to actually put 50% tariffs on everything if China doesn't remove their retaliatory tariffs.
Chinese peasants. Chinese peasants. Chinese peasants.
Let's talk about J.D. Vance's latest comments.
To make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture.
Do you really think that was some diplomatic slip-up? I don't think that was a slip. I think it was a glimpse behind the curtain. We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy things from Chinese peasants? Let that sink in. If we're borrowing money from peasants, what does that make us? But this is how they see everyone who is not in their billionaire circle. This man who supposedly climbed out of poverty, and then he just decides to kick the ladder out from behind him, accidentally revealed how they truly see everybody else who's not in their circle. The Trump administration isn't fighting for you. They are transforming this country into an oligarchy and pointing their fingers at everybody else while they're doing it. They slap massive 104% tariffs on China, knowing full well that we will pay the cost, not China. J.D. Vance talks about Chinese workers as if they're beneath him, but guess what? In his world and in Trump's world, we are all beneath them. We are all peasants. We are all just labor to be exploited, votes to be manipulated, and wallets to be emptied. Remember this the next time the Trump administration pretends to be heroes of the working class. Their mask slipped, and we all heard what they really think. We are not citizens to them. They think of us as peasants, and it's time that we stop letting them treat us like it. It is time for this administration to be impeached and removed.
Dominates the global economy because it embraces what America fears most, real labor. While the West chases branding and financial bubbles, China built an entire empire on actual production. And now their rise exposes a fatal flaw in white capitalism's disdain for work. For centuries, white economic elites have structured society around avoiding labor while extracting it from others. Enslaved Africans built the global South's wealth, while European aristocrats and plantation owners positioned themselves as gentlemen, a tradition that frames manual labor as racially inferior. After slavery, Jim Crow and other exploitative labor laws kept Black and immigrant workers in underpaid production roles, while white capitalists rebranded themselves as managers, investors, and entrepreneurs. The Industrial Revolution amplified this divide. White industrialists like Carnegie and Rockefeller glorified themselves as self-made, while their fortunes rested on child labor, immigrant sweatshops, and violent union suppression. By the late 20th century, America began offshoring its labor to China, not just for cheap wages, but because whiteness had fully divorced itself from the stigma of manual labor. U.S. executives justified this by labeling manufactured jobs as low skill, a racially coded term, while pouring money into marketing, financing, and branding, industries that produce nothing tangible but generate massive profits through psychological manipulation. Meanwhile, China weaponizes America's labor aversion. They built the world's most efficient manufacturing base, not just by making goods, but by mastering supply chains, infrastructure, and real productivity. Now China controls 80% of global solar paneling, 70% of lithium refining, 50% of shipbuilding, while the U.S. economy relies on inflating stock value, branding hollow luxuries, and predatory gig work. Now, what is the result? China's GDP has grown 40 times since 1990. U.S. wages stagnate as labor is devalued and jobs are replaced with hustle culture. America's infrastructure crumbles while China builds high-speed railways, smart cities, and AI-driven factories. White capitalism's contempt for labor has left America with a failing economy, one where finance bros are richer than engineers, influencers out-earn factory workers, and branding is valued over building. China's dominance proves that real power comes from production, not propaganda. The U.S. can either confront its racist labor hierarchy or reinvest in real work, or watch as the next century belongs to those who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty.